abortion providers to challenge the law in federal court. I mean, the case that they were hearing today doesn't deal directly with whether or not the Texas law is legal. It's whether the Department of Justice and the abortion providers can even bring federal lawsuits against Texas or state officials in an effort to block the law. Remember, one of the reasons, or one of the ways that they wrote the case was, one of the reasons that the Supreme Court is hearing the case is because it was written so that individual citizens could sue abortion providers. And taking the state and federal law, and the question is whether or not you can do that. If the legislative design is a legal way to write a law, a bunch of people have called it this kind of a bounty system, where private citizens can file lawsuits against those who perform, aid, or abet an abortion after fetal cardiac activity is detected, which is right around the 6-week mark. Now, Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett, a couple of the conservative justices, were among the 5-member majority who voted against blocking the ban, but they were the ones, those two were ones who were posing some pretty sharp questions about the implications, about the structure, and whether or not this could be stricken simply because the way it's put together is going to be illegal. That's just one. There's another abortion case that the Supreme Court will hear 1st of December.
Joe Biden was asked about his dipping poll numbers recently, and he said the polls are going to go up and down and up and down. They were high early, then they got medium, then they went back up, and now they're low. Well, look at
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I want you to read.
Like a Trump.
I was just going to say, read that same thing, but instead of saying Joe Biden said it, say Donald Trump said it.
It's so funny that we both had that reaction. Yeah, it sounds exactly like Trump. He says, that's not why I ran. I did not run to determine how well I'm going to do in the polls. I ran to make sure that I followed through on what I said I would do as President of the United States.
The latest NBC News poll, now this is just one of many, but the latest NBC News poll showed that his approval rating is down to 42%. That's down from 53% back in April in that same poll.
Wow, incredible.
The average, Real Clear Politics average, so the approval rating average of polls is down to 42%, where that NBC poll is down from an average of about 50%. As recently as mid-August, it's fallen 7%.
And that's not why he ran. He ran because he was the only one who was going to win that election for the Democrats. He didn't want to run. His time was years ago. He knew that was the only hope for the Democrats would be him, Joe Biden. But he doesn't want to be doing this. That's why he's sleeping at the climate summit, isn't it? He wants to be living out his life. He wants to be on a rocking chair somewhere at a Cracker Barrel.
We mentioned that Jen Psaki tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday. She is the White House press secretary. She said in a statement, I've not had close contact in person with the president or senior members of the White House staff since Wednesday. I tested negative for 4 days after that last contact. I am disclosing today's positive test out of an abundance of transparency. She said that she was originally going to go with the president on his trip through Europe, but then said she didn't because of a family emergency. It turns out that the family emergency is that somebody in her family or household tested positive, and her last press briefing with reporters was Wednesday. She said she's vaccinated. She said she has mild symptoms. It's a cold. She will return to work after a 10-day quarantine following a negative... Wait a minute. She'll return to work after a 10-day quarantine following a negative test? Hold on a second. She's going to wait until she has a negative test and then quarantine for another 10 days?
Yeah, those are a lot of the rules that are going on.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, when did the 10 days start? I mean, we're trying to figure out what the charges. Like, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah, you got to get a negative test, and then I think the 10 days start then. That's just some of the safety theater that's going on.
Well, an update on American Airlines. Now over 400 flights today have been canceled because of some problems. Alex Stone is going to join us in just a couple of minutes with the latest on the cancellations and delays and what is prompting this, why this is the second airline to go through a very, very tough weekend, and what it means as we get closer to the holiday.
That's next on Gary and Shannon.
Mood-enhancing, pharmacy-grade, stimulating talk.
KFI
KFC HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Sweeping the sidewalks, I'm Amy King, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. A homeless camp on San Vicente Boulevard in Westwood has been cleared away. LA County Sheriff's Lieutenant Jeff Diedrich says everyone in the camp is a veteran.
The VA worked with us very closely, and they listened, and they saw that they were able to do some things to help the vets that wanted to go inside to make it so they could.
Diedrich says when his team arrived in mid-August, there were 51 tents in front of the VA campus. He says all of the veterans have been housed. Some people might be up in arms if a gun show gets canceled.
Two lawmakers from Ventura County are trying to propose a state law that aims to end gun shows at the Ventura County Fairgrounds. State Senator Monique Limon of Santa Barbara and Assemblymember Steve Bennett of Ventura say the bill would prohibit gun shows at the state-owned fairgrounds. The lawmakers say that state property should not be used for the sale of firearms. A recent article from CalMatters.org says only 30% of gun show exhibitors sell guns or ammunition. Andrew Caravella, KFI News.
Last week, the Fairgrounds Board of Directors postponed the debate on whether to continue the weapons event. A man from Irvine has been charged for punching a flight attendant last week on a New York to Santa Ana flight that had to land in Denver to get the guy off the plane. The Justice Department says 20-year-old Brian Sue will face charges of interference with a flight crew and assault. A man's been arrested in connection with a deadly shooting at the home of a council member in Northern California. One person was killed and 3 others were hurt in Saturday's shooting in Gilroy. Authorities say it happened during a large outdoor party at the council member's home. A Baltimore Ravens player is expected to recover after he was shot. The team says linebacker Malik Harrison was hit in the calf by a stray bullet at a party Sunday night in Cleveland. The Ravens say he's headed back to Baltimore today. A former coach of the Raiders may punt some of the blame from his recent email controversy onto his former employer.
Former Las Vegas Raiders coach John Gruden reportedly is looking into legal actions against the NFL and Commissioner Roger Goodell. Gruden resigned last month after the release of emails that included racist, homophobic, and misogynistic remarks he'd made. There are reports that lawyers say Gruden might have a case against the league over its handling of the emails. The emails were found during the NFL's investigation of workplace misconduct by the Washington football team that revealed a conversation between Gruden and one of the team's execs. Jennifer Jones-Lee, KFI News.
New figures show COVID-19 has killed more than 5 million people around the world in less than 2 years. Together, the U.S., European Union, Britain, and Brazil make up an eighth of the world's population, but nearly half of all the reported deaths. The U.S. has recorded the most deaths, with more than 740,000 people dying during the pandemic. A new survey by one of the big companies looking to hire seasonal workers for the holidays has found flexible working hours is the number one thing people are looking for when they apply for a job. Talent Acquisition Director at UPS, Mark Shannon, says that's particularly true for women and millennials because of the pandemic.
In the survey, 4 out of 5 millennials said that the pandemic has changed what they're looking for in an employer and about the way they feel that work fits into their lives.
He says one of the other main things people want from a seasonal job is for it to become a permanent job. So in Sherman Oaks on the 101.
Northbound side of the 101 right before you get to the 405, and this is taking away the far right lane, so you're going to see pretty heavy delays as you're coming away from just about Laurel Canyon. Also, it's going to be a busy ride if you're heading along the southbound side of the 101, coming away from Woodland over to the 134, and again delays as you're heading away from Santa Monica Boulevard over to the 110 freeway. Meanwhile, if you're heading into Boyle Heights on the eastbound 10, pretty much right there at the 5 split, got the right lane coned off for emergency Caltrans work, and things are backing up just beyond San Pedro Street. If you're heading along the 5, you've got a crash in San Juan Capistrano, northbound side at Ortega Highway, where the carpool lane is blocked, so things are just starting to back up there. And it's going to be a slow ride if you're heading in through Upland, westbound 10, just beyond Mountain Avenue. You've got a crash in the right lane, and things are backed up from about Vineyard. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Jay Lewis.
The mission at IQ Air is very simple. The cleanest air possible. That's why they came up with the affordable Autumn series to do just that. Autumn Desk is a revolutionary air purifier that's simply going to transform your workspace into a personal clean air zone. If you share workspace like we do, you're going to want this thing. Unlike other air filtration systems that may take hours to purify the air in the room, the Autumn Desk is a revolutionary purifier. They'll begin working immediately. It's a unique design. Protects you by removing ultra-fine particles and even larger ones from your personal breathing zone. In fact, you can create your own personal bubble of ultra-pure air. Designed in Switzerland, manufactured in Germany, it's game-changing technology, and it's been proven to remove 99% of all airborne pollutants. So purify your workspace today with the Autumn Desk. IQAir.com/US to learn more, or give them a call, 800-500-4AIR. That's IQAir.com/US, or 800-500-4247.
If you want to sell your car fast, Roto. If you want it to be hassle-free, Roto. If you want to make more money on your trade, yep, Roto. That's R-O-D-O. Roto is the best place to buy a new car, and it's also the best place to sell your used car or vehicle lease for quick payment. That's right. Cash offers for used cars have never been higher, so act now. Download the Roto app or go to roto.com. That's R-O-D-O. The fastest way to sell your car.
KFI market report brought to you by Bay Alarm. The Dow closes the day up 94 points. The NASDAQ added 98. S&P 500 up 8. The average price for gas in California, $4.61 a gallon.
Bay Alarm security systems can change with your business, so you're right for now and ready for the next.
Southbound weather from KFI, mostly cloudy this afternoon. Clouds continue tonight with lows in the 50s. Tomorrow, sunshine after those morning clouds clear out. Highs will be in the mid-60s at the beaches, mid to upper 70s inland. A little bit warmer for Wednesday and Thursday, warming up to about 70 at the beaches, upper 70s to low 80s inland by the end of the week. It's 63 in San Clemente, 65 Pasadena, 65 in Fountain Valley, 65 in Hacienda Heights. We lead local, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Amy King. Gary and Shannon, KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. What?
No S. It's just the way you said that. It's funny.
No, I didn't even know I said that.
Yeah, you did. The Supreme Court is going to hear a gun rights case this week. Could lead to more guns on the streets of New York and L.A. And that is a bad thing. I mean, it threatens restrictions on guns in subways, airports, bars, churches, schools, and other places where people gather. This is going to be on Wednesday. We have seen the numbers in terms of gun violence that is surging, and that's part of the argument is I need something to protect myself. And the other side is saying, well, the more guns, you're going to see more violence. All of it is on whether or not New York's restrictive gun permit law is legal and whether challengers to the law have a right to carry a firearm in public for self-defense. Those arguments are going to be Wednesday.
Well, what the hell is going on with American Airlines? Alex Stone has all the answers. Seems to be the latest airline to have not enough people to staff those planes, huh, Alex?
Yeah, here we go again. So with Spirit at the beginning of September, then Southwest a couple of weeks ago, now American, and every time it's been the same story. Bad weather causes the system to get out of whack. Then planes and crews that they're in the wrong cities, and then they have a hard time getting the puzzle put back together again with the staffing that they got post-pandemic or later on in the pandemic where we are right now. So American is dealing with it. We're looking at latest number. It was mid-300s an hour ago. Now it's 410 American flights that have been canceled today. And people are stranded. Yeah, it could have been what we heard on Spirit back in September, Southwest, and now the American passengers saying the same thing.
At this point, we just want to go back home, but we don't want to lose the money.
Yeah, so they're sticking with it. They're going to go to a resort, and if they give up, they might get their American money back, but they won't get their resort money. So they're hanging out in the airport and waiting. Today is a whole lot better than yesterday. Today, 410 right now, but yesterday was 1 out of every 5 American flights was canceled. About 1,100 flights online. People trying to get on new flights. Just because every time we do these stories, we got to have babies crying, the sound in the Charlotte. They're tired of trying to get through to a customer service rep and get on something, but there is nothing. And so American says this is not the result of any kind of walkout by employees over the vaccine mandate. Same thing Southwest said a few weeks ago. They say that they are fully staffed. They just have limited staff right now.
So when things go really bad, they go really bad. They've got nobody to pick up the slack. And, you think, well, how? You get a planes in the run, but how come overnight you can't move them around? And you talk to Henry Harveld, he's an industry analyst, he says travelers don't understand that when things get messed up, especially late in the month, that crews can't work because legally they're out of FAA hours, and that then they're in the wrong place, and they can't pitch in and really help because they've got no more hours left. And that's what American was dealing with at the end of October.
The airline is short on flight attendants. It's the end of the month. The flight attendants are out of hours, legally out the hours they can fly, and that's just left American in a really tough spot.
So now going into November, they should be able to make up for that now. And just by chance, guys, a load of about 1,800 flight attendants are returning to American today. November 1 was the date that they had set over the last couple of months, and it just happens to be when all, what is breaking loose in the airline, that they're coming back, that they were on leave during the pandemic. They had to go back to retraining. They had a sign-on date to be back. So some relief should be coming, but still could be a couple of days before they figure all of this out. The planes that should be in LA are in Charlotte right now, and then they were supposed to go from LA to Chicago and then to Seattle, and they're not in either of those places. So they got to make all of this up. But it's another airline and another mess going on.
I did see also that the American Pilot Union, American Airlines Pilot Union.
Oh, did they email you your weekly newsletter for all pilots?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm on a list.
Got it.
They're very concerned about the holiday flight schedule. That American is not trimming their holiday schedules, even though they're concerned, the pilots are concerned, that this same issue is going to come up as we get into a very busy travel season.
Yeah, it's not only American, Southwest pilots have been saying the same thing, that they're saying, all right, put the mandate stuff aside. When that goes into effect later on this month, you may have some pilots who either walk off the job or get fired because they won't get vaccinated. Then you don't have those pilots or those flight attendants, but just being overworked. And Southwest made some cuts to its schedule because of that, where the CEO admitted, that Gary Kelly admitted, the chair of the company, that they had overscheduled for the planes and the flight crews that they've got in. But American isn't doing that. They're saying they've got more crews coming in. And that analyst touched on that as well. He said, get ready. But if you're going to fly for Thanksgiving or Christmas, you may want to put in a little bit of buffer time on one end or the other because it may not go well.
It's going to be a very, very tough holiday travel season. So if you're planning on traveling during the holidays, you better have a plan B and a plan C for where you're going.
He said if you show up at Burbank or LAX or John Wayne and they say you're canceled, that you may want to, decide you're going to Cabo or something because you may not be going where you want to go. And so, yeah, it may be tough. And then you add in the vaccine stuff, and, it's still debated if part of Southwest issue was pilots taking action, even though the airline says it wasn't earlier, but that would have been on their own doing, even though they claimed they didn't do it. At the end of this month, it will be when the mandate of the airline goes into effect, and then you may have people who can't come back. They're not just taking a one-day hiatus, but they're gone for good or for a very long time. So this is going to be an interesting month. The next couple of weeks, you got labor issues, you've got the mandates going into effect, and some pilots and flight attendants are saying that it's shaping up to be rough.
Sorry, Mom and Dad. My flight to Oakland got canceled, but I'll be in Cabo.
That's right. I'm on Maui right now, if you need me.
Gobble, gobble. Alex Stone, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Bye, guys.
Alex there is the latest for us and for ABC News. Now, there was another headline locally over the weekend. One of the more classless things I think we've ever seen in terms of sports.
Yeah.
And that it's at the high school level makes it even worse.
Oh, that was disgusting.
We got that. We got $1,000 to give away. We got Mixtape Monday coming up.
Halloween's over, and you know what that means? Mariah Carey is back.
What do you mean? I don't want that song in my head.
Lincoln's venerable
I know
town
what
car
you're gonna play. I
full-size
don't want that
sedan
song in my head.
continues into
Okay, well, then we won't play
2009,
it.
providing
Yeah.
motorists an upscale.
It's already there. Now I can.
Now she's upset because she listens to the program.
She doesn't.
Yes, she does. We talked to her earlier in the show.
Oh, that's different. It's very different.
Mm.
And by the way, last time I said that on the air, he sent me a text